runner was out of bounds before he fumbled the basketball. The ball be placed at the 39-yard line. It is a first down.
Clay Martin is playing the wrong sport, and so are the 49ers. Why? Why, God? Why? Why is this happening? What is going on? I must ask. Why? I must ask. Why? Why must you strip me of the only joy I get on Sunday? Oh, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. The worst luck I've ever seen in a game before in my life. 2 tipped interceptions. Nick Bosa with his second career interception. Brandon Ayuk explodes for 147 yards and has his best game of the fucking season. 23-10 halftime lead. Everything that could have went right for us. Field goal, block, touchdown. Everything that could have went right, went right. I'm like, oh, this is great. This is solid. This is an easy dub. Get back on track. Feel good about it. Oh, but fear not, because we are the 49ers, and no lead is safe for us. You know damn well that everything that could go wrong will go wrong after everything that could go right goes right. Yeah, they're looking at it like, the fuck? Yeah, you guys had too many good things happening to you. Let me sprinkle in a little bit of shit for you. We just let Kyler Murray, who I made fun of for possibly falling off due to playing Call of Duty too much, fucking come back down from 13 and have one of the worst defenses shut us out in the second half. This just confirms a suspicion that I've mentioned before, but I am officially a curse. Kyler Murray heard me making fun of him and said, fuck you, I'll beat your team and get a fucking Call of Duty sponsorship right after. You cannot make this shit up. You also can't make up the absurdity that was week 5. We just witnessed the most college-like NFL Sunday of the season. We had touchdowns left and right. Everyone was scoring touchdowns. Joe Burrow had the game of his career. Caleb Williams had the game of his career. Mark Andrews caught a fucking pass. A white cornerback got an interception. Joe Flacco threw his 40-year-old arm out. What are you doing, Joe? You're gonna blow your arm out. This isn't the 2012 divisional round against the Broncos. Your arm's gonna fall off. You fucking stunad. You Italian. You Guido. You greaseball. Guy's balling out. He looked like he was 26 playing in the Super Bowl again. I've never seen anything like it. He looked elite. I mean, Joe Flacco is elite. We all know that. And after worrying that NFL offenses were declining and had fallen victim to the too high safety and may never be the same again, we had Kirk Cousins throwing for 500 yards on Thursday night in an epic overtime finish. Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow trading blows in a shootout, combining for 9 touchdown passes. Jags and Colts shootout. 10 teams scored at least 29 points. And this was by far the most explosive the NFL has looked in a while. The Jets just ended the season on Robert Saleh, firing him on Tuesday morning and reportedly had him escorted by security and did not allow him to speak to the team after. And that's where we will start, actually. So the Jets and Vikings, Andrew Van Ginkel, not only is he the only player who can also be confused for the team's mascot, but also just got a second pick 6 of the season, and not surprisingly, both of which were against New York quarterbacks. There's nothing to say about this game, really. Both offenses sucked ass. Both quarterbacks sucked, and it was honestly expected with the way that these two defenses are playing, arguably the best 2 defenses in football, and not just because of talent, but because of scheme and coaching, which is the thing that really makes them scary. Which leads me to asking, why was Robert Saleh let go this early? It's not like your team is 0-5 or 1-4 for that matter. You almost beat the best team in the NFC. You're competing to take the lead in your division next week. It just doesn't make sense. The defense is playing good, and that's what Saleh is known for. If anybody should have gotten fired, it should have been that fucking tomato face Nate Hackett, however the fuck you say his name. It feels a bit scapegoaty, kinda, a little bit. Like, it just didn't make it makes no sense. Now, if you were to tell me, okay, the Jets didn't finish the season the way they wanted and Saleh was let go, totally understand. In fact, you all know I'm a big Saleh fan. I mean, I don't know if I ever said that, but yeah, he was on the Niners, so fuck yeah. I love Saleh, man. That's my guy. But I really didn't think he was that great of a head coach. It kind of just is what it is. And it's like, if you were to let him go at the end of the year, fine, but at least give the fucking guy a chance to finish the season with his Hall of Fame quarterback for more than 5 games. Woody Johnson, who probably doesn't wake up with a Woody Johnson anymore, really just put his team in a situation that pretty much guarantees they're cooked. I mean, when you fire a head coach, your chances of going to the playoffs, let alone the Super Bowl, are very, very slim. Oh, that should be the other way around. Going to the Super Bowl, let alone the playoffs, is very, very slim. It just creates more problems with your team. And when you fire a head coach, the chances are there are more problems than just the head coach with your team. In fact, sometimes it's really not even the head coach. Not even the seeing ghosts version of Sam Darnold is enough to stop the Vikings from winning. They, along with the Chiefs, are the only undefeated team left and look like clear front runners of the NFC. Fuck my life. Ravens and Bengals, well, that was probably the best game I've seen all year. Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson being put in the 1 p.m. window shouldn't be allowed anymore. There should be a rule. There should be a new rule to put these two in prime time every single time they play. Imagine if this game was on a Monday night. Everybody would be saying it's the game of the year. I mean, people are, saying it's a good game, but I feel like when it's in prime time, that's why you see a lot of playoff games that are really good. They say game of the year. It's like, yeah, because everyone saw it. More people saw it. Evan McPherson apparently couldn't see the kicking net as he blew the game-winning kick for Cincinnati during overtime. Jermaine Pratt picked up a fumble, and Kevin Harlan lost his shit like he always does. Harlan is insane. Harlan is a really great commentator that I don't think gets enough credit for how good he is at his job. And I think you should give that guy a playoff game. Just look into that. Look into that. His voice is like, I've never seen someone get so excited. Ravens and Bengals combined for 962 total yards, 79 points, and still somehow combined for 8 punts. Don't know how that's possible, but anything is possible in this league, including Mark Andrews actually catching a fucking pass for once. The Bengals defense is just that bad. They're so bad, they let Mark Andrews get involved. And after watching the Baltimore Ravens offense, it seems like they will do anything for that guy not to catch the football for some reason, but he did. The Bengals defense has allowed 29 points per game, second worst only to the Carolina Panthers. And the Panthers honestly really don't count in anything, so the Bengals are basically last. Cincinnati is also second last in the league in sacks with only 6 sacks on the year. That's gotta suck. And they can't defend the pass, so that is a recipe for disaster, and it has been a disaster for Cincinnati. They are 1-4. 1-4. It's still early, but I think it's safe to say that the Bengals are cooked for this season. Ravens offense just shot out of a cannon after an 0-2 start. I mean, they are on fire. Manders and Browns. Now, Deshaun Watson played like a brown stain on the mattress for Cleveland, as he has done ever since he has gotten there. And I, unsurprisingly, started him in fantasy because I am just an idiot. And you guys are pretty familiar with that. With all my takes that I have on here, you should know how stupid I am. So, 3-0 is what I started at, and I fell to 3-2, which that's kind of like the Bills. So I guess every time you say a team is the best, they fall off and they act like they want to miss the playoffs. So I guess that holds true for real life and in fantasy football. And the Browns sure as hell are not making the playoffs. They're barely making it to the end zone. Hell, they're barely making it off the plane into the team hotel. They might as well not even show up with how bad they're playing. I mean, holy hell, they haven't even scored 20 points in a game this season. They haven't even thrown for 200 yards passing. They have not thrown for 200 yards in a game this season. It is week 5. Week 5. The Manders sacked Watson 7 times, and they dragged their sack across the Browns for 4 straight quarters. The Commanders are winning and winning convincingly, but I will say that I am a bit scared for Jaden Daniels, as FedEx Field has had a long history of trying to kill quarterbacks. RG3's famous injury, or should I say infamous. Alex Smith actually almost lost his life after his injury, and this video of a stadium railing coming loose and almost crushing Jalen Hurts. And it is funny that the Commander Stadium is called FedEx, as their team usually never delivers. But this season, they are. Now it's Jaden Daniels' team until it isn't, and I'm praying he stays healthy, because one injury to his knee and he'll be stuffing croissants in his mouth and becoming a meme right before his very eyes. If you were to tell me they were like 500, 3-2, 2-3, but playing good, I would have been like, okay, cool. They're 4-1, and they're 4-1, and they're like blowing teams out. Like, they're putting up, this is their 3rd straight game of 34 points or more. That's insane. Their defense looks like it's figured something out. I mean, they're just playing complimentary football, not turning the ball over. Bills Texans and Josh Allen, despite only completing 9 of 30 of his passes, this game came down to the last second field goal by Kaimi Fairbairn. And at first glance, you may say, that's not the Josh Allen I know. Something's got to be wrong. And something wrong there was. Josh Allen sustained a head injury, and in fact, he not only hit his head, but it bounced off the turf. And the Bills staff was like, oh, rub some dirt on it and get back out there as if you weren't playing bad enough. Let's see how worse you can get with a fucking concussion. And before we send you back out there, here are some smelling salts, Go out with a bang. And Josh Allen did finish the game, and to the naked eye, looked okay. But the NFL and the Bills are still under fire for their concussion protocol and how they handled that situation. Yes, Josh Allen was medically cleared to come back in the game, but it didn't matter much as the Bills drop a second straight game. Stephon Diggs gets revenge on his old team, and the Texans, despite being 4-1, have won their games by 2 points, 3 points, 4 points, and their biggest win still only being by 6 points against Chicago in week 2. Now, don't get me wrong, Houston is a very good football team, but I think they've lacked the ability to put up the kind of performances that they know they're capable of putting. And to make matters worse, wide receiver Nico Collins just got put on IR, and he's going to miss at least the next 4 games. So, yeah, it's next man up. That means Stephon Diggs should be getting a lot more work. Tank Dell should be getting a lot more work. Schultz. Joe Mixon is still out of practice for them. His injury situation is weird. Very weird. He went from day to day to week. I don't know how that happens, and he was limited last week in practice, and now he's not practicing. Just a weird situation, but I will say this, they're 4-1. Wins are wins, and CJ Stroud is as clutch as they come. Because if he's winning these close games, they're doing something right. And Stroud, as long as he's on the field, it shouldn't be too concerning. Colts and Jags. Who would have thought Trevor Lawrence and Joe Flacco would give us the game of the year? And who knew Joe Flacco still had a little pep in his step on this 21-yard scamper or jog, whatever this is. But this run by Flacco was over half of the yards Trey Sermon had on 10 carries. So he had 38. And those Jags throwback uniforms are my new favorite uniforms in the league. One thing that uniforms lack nowadays is detail, because teams would rather go for a more modern, minimalistic look. The reason I love NFL throwback uniforms, especially like the Jags and Broncos, is because it has just enough detail and design to where it looks really cool, but it doesn't look like an XFL or USFL uniform. The Jaguars by many have been mistaken for a USFL team this season, and rightfully so, as they've done next to nothing good through the first 4 weeks. But in week 5, Trevor Lawrence had the best game of the season, pretty much since week 13 last year. I think that was his last best game against Cincinnati. Panthers, Bears, man, Caleb Williams looked incredible, man. He looked really good. I mean, everyone got involved. DJ Moore had his best game. Cole Kmet got the ball. Fucking Keenan Allen, Odunze, Swift, Everett. Caleb Williams went 20 of 29 for 304 yards and 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. Caleb Williams has gotten better every week. In fact, he is on pace to be throwing like 8 touchdowns by the end of the year in a game. So good on Caleb. The Panthers came out with a touchdown run by Chuba Hubbard to take the lead early, but they did not keep pounding. In fact, they got pounded for the rest of the game on live TV. Bryce Young went into the game for a few plays, and that's how you know the Panthers lost. It's easy to make fun of and criticize Caleb Williams because expectations were so high, but the attitude that this guy has definitely had a lot to do with how good he was in college and has a lot to do with how he has improved week by week in the NFL. Williams said he doesn't get nervous, and I believe him because he plays a style of football and it's his style, and nobody is going to get him to stop playing that way. And, I mean, it's gotten better, and it really worked against the Panthers on Sunday. So I just want to give a shout-out to Caleb, man. I'm glad to see him doing well. I'm glad to see that team doing well because they're quite honestly, they're too talented to not, be putting up points and, allowing less points than they put up. They have a good offense. They have a good defense. Talented players all around. They should be a playoff team, and seriously. They should be. Raiders, Broncos, tight ends are back. Tight ends are back. As we get closer to National Tight Ends Day, Brock Bowers took the game's first touchdown, 57 yards, to the house. And that was about all the Raiders had to be excited about. Big Dick Nix threw for 206 yards and 2 scores. He also added a little sneaky sneak up top. And to say Bo Nix spread the ball around would be an understatement, as 11 different Broncos would catch a pass on Sunday, which is nothing foreign to a Sean Payton offense. We saw that a lot with Breeze in New Orleans, and we're seeing it here with Bo Nix, who a lot of people, including Sean Payton, think have a lot of similarities with Drew Brees. Aiden O'Connell came in for Gardner Minshew in the the third quarter. And no, Minshew did not hurt his mustache or something like that. He was just sucking ass. So they had to pull him out. And Aiden O'Connell will be starting this week in week 6. So something to keep an eye on. And he's playing Pittsburgh. He's fucked. The white whipped cream on top of this win for the Broncos was an interception by Riley Moss, which was the first interception by a white corner since Jason Sehorn did it for the Giants 20 some odd years ago. And as a former white defensive back myself, this brought a tear to my eye, as this one play by this gorgeous cracker makes up for all the interceptions I dropped in middle school and high school. Cardinals, 49ers. Sometimes I feel like the Niners do this shit on purpose. They might know that they're such a talented team, they can just fuck around and do stupid shit because they know somewhere down the line they're going to be like, okay, time to get serious. Better stop messing around here. And they'll just win a bunch of games and down the stretch and make the playoffs and beat the shit out of everyone and make the NFC Championship or the Super Bowl, which they will then proceed to blow a lead. That little fucking hobbit Kyler Murray had the balls to celebrate a touchdown at the 45-yard line. I've never seen nothing like that in my life. And after I saw him put his hand up and there was just nobody there, I knew without a doubt that we were completely fucked. So many crazy, unlikely things happen in this game, which I mentioned before. Block kick, kicker gets hurt making a tackle. Bosa gets an interception. Brock Purdy has 2 tip passes leading to interceptions. Brandon Ayuk has a great game after going on a 4-week vacation. All this, though, was too much for me in one game. This is now 2 games where we blow a lead of 13 or more points and blow a lead of 10 in the fourth quarter. So this is just insane. I mean, we in both of these losses, besides Minnesota flat out beat us. The only reason that we had a chance was Fred Warner. LA and Arizona, we had a chance to put them away, and the team we had last year would have put them away in the third quarter when you're up 21-7, and then we're up 23-10 at halftime. It's like, dude, you put them away. And in fact, we're in the red zone twice in the second quarter last week. On Sunday. We're at the 2-yard line and we can't punch it in. And then we get the interception by Bosa, and then we're set up two timeouts. George Kittle catches a pass, goes inside the 10, and we can't fucking score. The red zone issues have been the worst. That's the thing that really, really has been hurting us. Like, I know turnovers. We've turned the ball over 8 times in the first 5 games. Not good. I know a lot of them have been unlucky, though. Special teams has not been great. Offensive line hasn't been great, but the red zone shit is the thing that really, really concerns me, because we scored one more touchdown than we did in that game. In both games, we win. We win. Kyler had all the time in the world in that pocket. He could have sat back and played Black Ops if he wanted to. We outgained Arizona in yards, time of possession, first downs, total plays run, and we were more efficient on third down, and we only punted once. But what almost all close games come down to turnovers. We turned the ball over 3 times at very, very bad times in the game. And the 49ers blowing leads, though, is not what you think. It's not what you think it is. We hold ourselves to such a high standard that if we're only leading by 10 points in the fourth quarter, we believe that we don't deserve to win. That's how we play. We hold ourselves to such a standard that if we're not leading, if we're not beating the absolute shit out of a team, we believe that we deserve to lose. That's my theory. Niners go up to Seattle on Thursday. Short week, banged up. I don't know, man. I honestly don't know what to expect. I expect us to move the ball and make good plays, make some stops on defense, but I can't tell you what the fuck that's even going to matter. If like there's so much weird stuff that's happened in all these games that it just, I don't know, man. Now, Giants Seahawks, and the Giants, even with missing Malik Neighbors and Devin Singletary, had their best game of the season as an offense and as a team. Daniel Jones played like he was worth every penny, and rookie running back Tyrone Tracy may have just stolen Devin Singletary's job, rushing for 129 yards on just 18 attempts, averaging 7.2 yards per carry. And Darius Slayton went for $122 and a tutty. The Giants defense dominated with 7 sacks, and this is the second time that the Giants got 7 sacks in a game. Second time was against, well, the first time I should say was against the Browns, no surprise, where they had 8 sacks. And they lead the league now in sacks. They are really, really good up front. Starting with Dexter Lawrence, that fucking massive behemoth. Yeah, he might be the best defensive tackle in the game right now. He had 3 of those sacks, absolutely shitting on the Seahawks offensive line. The Seahawks set up for a game-tying field goal, but it was blocked by Giants hybrid cyborg Isaiah Simmons and picked up by Bryce Ford Wheaton for a touchdown to seal the win for the Big Blue. And Brian Daboll and Danny Dimes, I don't know. I don't think you guys know what you just did for me. You set up a situation, a potential situation that even though the 49ers are playing like hot shit, we can go into Seattle tomorrow and beat them and be leading the NFC West by week 6's end. The Giants can, talent-wise, I feel like they can compete with a lot of teams. Like, you know, Tyrone Tracy, especially now that he popped off onto the scene, he might take the starting job. I mean, Daniel Jones, even though people consider him the weak link, I guess, has played pretty solid. Darius Slayton, like, why doesn't he get the ball more? You know, why don't they go more play action and go across the field, open things up for the offense? You know, Wandale got involved, and they did this without Malik Neighbors. It's like, how does that make sense? Their offense should be better with their best player on the field. They really aren't as far off as people think, I feel like. You know, if their kicker doesn't go down on Sunday against the Commanders in week 2, they could have won. It was 21-18. They didn't kick any extra points. Daniel Jones and Malik Neighbors looked really good. They could have easily beaten Dallas. Just too many missed opportunities when they got down there in the red zone. At the very worst, 3-2. It makes more sense. The Commanders' loss was a lot more of luck than it had to do with how they played. So at the very worst, 3-2, but they could easily be 4-1. Cowboys Steelers. I'm gonna be honest, I did not watch most of this game. The 2-hour rain delay really pushed me over the edge because at this point I was already shit-faced. Trying to numb myself after watching the 49ers attempt to play football in the second half. But what I saw at the end was Dak Prescott became the first player to throw a touchdown and an interception on different days in the same game. It's the boring, expected defensive battle. George Pickens lost his mind. Steelers dropped their second straight after a 3-0 start. You know, the Cowboys seem to have found their groove, even with Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, Deron Bland, and Brandon Cooks out. So that is promising. And Jalen Tolbert, quite honestly, deserves to be MVP of the Cowboys season after what he went through before he caught that touchdown.
JT literally sprained his nuts. Oh, excuse me, sorry. Sprained his nuts to play before it comes back, makes the game winner.
Yes, Jalen Tolbert sprained his nuts before catching that touchdown pass. So Tolbert won't be having kids anytime soon, but will be scoring plenty touchdowns in the near future. Saints Chiefs. You can take Derek Carr out of the Raiders, but you cannot take the Raiders out of Derek Carr. Chiefs are the worst 5-0 team in NFL history. It just has to be said. I don't know if they'll lose a game. I honestly don't, bro. How do they keep getting away with this? You can't keep getting away with this, man. Jesse Pinkman would say. Saints offense went from the best to the worst in just 2 weeks, and Derek Carr is now out with an oblique injury for multiple weeks, and Spencer Rattler will now take over as starting quarterback. And I just got to say, God bless Saints fans, man. They have gone through some of the worst shit. The same ref that was reffing the 2018 NFC Championship game with the no PI call must have been reffing this game, because that was the most Chiefs glazing performance by the refs I've seen since the Super Bowl. Kansas City, unfortunately, is unstoppable, unbreakable, uncursable, and inevitable. But one thing we can all do is continue to wake up and choose hate. Choose to hate them and spread negativity their way to their fan base and their organization. And I think that is a beautiful thing. Just remarkable, man, that people can come together and hate a franchise so much. Week 5 was really good. Can't wait for week 6. I'm going to try and get the week 6 preview vid out ASAP. Going to go edit this one. I'm from New Jersey. Gabagool, bada bing, baba booey. Tony Soprano, Taylor Ham, Egg and Cheese, Seaside Heights Boardwalk. Have a good one. Love you. Follow the Deep Ball on Instagram. See you later. Thanks for watching. Peace.